So who am I speaking with?
Bruce Braun, GoldSpot Media.
Jamie Wells, Microsoft Advertising.
Okay, so I'll start with you, Bruce. What have you learned so far at the conference?
Well, I think the big thing that I've seen so far and what people have been saying is we've only scratched the surface with apps at this point. And in particular, people are trying to figure out where that market's going to go. Because with 250,000 apps within the iTunes store, there's so much choice. The question is what's relevant. And what we're seeing within this is that the biggest development in apps is really becoming extensions of major brands who already have major online presence.
Yeah, so actually I heard that from someone else. So give an example of what you're talking about.
Well, Ford, for example, all the automotive manufacturers, your packaged good companies and what have you, they're expanding out. These are extensions of their brands. And I think in many ways, we could even start to think of mobile apps as sort of a version of the online web browser bookmark, except it's a persistent bookmark sitting on your phone.
And Jamie?
Well, I have to say that one of the things I've really heard over and over again was the challenge that developers are facing with fragmentation in the app ecosystem. For a while, it was a question about, oh, do I develop for iPhone or Android or BlackBerry or Windows Mobile, Windows Phone, Palm, etc. And those debates are raging. But I think now what's becoming more interesting is that specifically around Android, with its insurgence and the fact that people are finally noticing critical mass, is the fragmentation within that particular ecosystem in terms of different versions of the OS installed in different handsets, different handset specs, and developers are having to make really difficult choices about where to develop towards. It's almost a sort of replaying of the Java issue that went on in the 90s, right? So the application developers are challenged to figure out really where do they place their bets. And these are difficult choices. These have ramifications whether a company is going to survive or not. So it's interesting to see this sort of play out, sort of again. We saw it first with Java, and now we're seeing it again with open source Android.
I think too, it's also a matter of if you've got a big brand that can support an app, that's one thing. But if you're just starting out, the big question is how are you going to monetize it? And heard a number of VCs saying, well, if you're just going to be dependent upon advertising revenue, they're not interested because there's got to be more to it than that because everybody can say, oh, we're going to sell ads. But you've got to have something that people really want.